I've spoken about self-hatred within the black community before, and I don't think people realize how young self-hatred starts within the black community. And it can start at the young age of 4 years old. I mean, I've been places, if you have a sharp eye, you can pick up things. I've been places like a grocery store, and I could pick up a young kid that is dealing with self-hatred at a young age of 4 years old. 3, 4 years old, I can pick it up. But I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this sad-ass video of this young, I don't even really want to call her a sister, but this young black girl displaying self-hatred among herself. And I want you guys to pay attention to some of the things, she says and she does. And, we have this whole thing about speaking white or sound like a white person or whatever. A lot of people throw that out of context, but she demonstrates the tone when some of us talk about you're taking on a certain vocal attribute of white Americans. Listen to her tone, and you can tell that the majority of the people she's around are Caucasians. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll the video for you guys.
Tracy, Barbie, this summer, meet Tracy Barbie. I love posting crazy things just to get people's reaction. I do what I want to do, and I don't care what people think about me. I would talk about what's going on with my life, what's going on with my body, and the fact that I want to marry a rich white guy. This girl's really hot.
No, she's hot.
Barbie in love with the new hot guy. Barbie and Ken. Oh my god, kiss me. We just kissed on camera. Oh my god. I even posted I wanted to get raped just to get attention. Then I said being raped felt amazing. People were sharing my status, my comments, and I had over 26,000 likes and 4,000 comments. 90% of the comments were negative, but I loved it. I just have a rape fetish, but I have not been raped. I deal with guys who are abusive and cuss and yell at me. That's how I feel loved. Yeah, I have sex the second date, only if he fits my standards. Once I had unprotected sex with this guy, and then my Facebook started blowing up with so many comments, and people started sharing it, and it got over like 80,000 likes. I knew it would get people's reaction. When they called me a slut and called me gross, I didn't care. Like, I don't care what they think. I felt even happier that they were getting more and more mad. Auto comments boosts up my self-esteem because it's attention and I love it.
Team Barbie, score!
Oh boy. Now, wow. If you guys looked at, the beginning of the video, she referred herself to a Barbie. So right then and there, that, lets you know what she's on. Then I want you guys to pay attention to the way she combed her hair. Look at her hairstyle. Her hair was combed over like a white girl. She had the dialect of someone who, like, if I didn't see this girl visually, I would think she was a little white girl. And I'm not saying that you have to have a certain diaphragm in order to be considered black, but just her tone. That's what I want you guys to pay attention to. Her tone, the way she used the words, definitely what she was saying plays into what a little white girl would say. But this little girl deals with a lot of self-hatred, and you could tell she's an attention whore. She searches for attention, and I guarantee you she goes to a predominantly white school. And this is why I always express to parents who when you have black children, it's important for them to be around children and people like themselves. I can go back to my mother. When she was in elementary, she went to an all-white school. I'm not going to say where it was or anything like that, but she went to an all-white school. There was 2 blacks, and she would always tell me that she was like the not to play the stereotype, but she was the official black girl. And then I think she said it was another young boy that was there, but he played into a lot of things that the white kids would do, basically like this young girl is doing. Changing her tone of voice, changing his tone of voice, playing into certain narratives that little white kids would do and say. So she would always tell me that, and she would tell me how it affected her, because it was like every day she went to school, she only saw people that looked opposite of her. She never saw anybody who looked like her, and somebody that she can identify with or talk to. Because let's be honest, and we're like this as adults, us black folks, when we go into a new environment, whether it's a room, whether it's a new job, etc., etc., we're looking around for someone to identify with us. We're looking for that other black man or that other black woman. Not saying we're gonna get along with them, but we want to see somebody who identifies with ourselves, because we know that in different sources of environment, especially the work field, or I would even say education, there is a certain type of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a certain type of feeling we're going to have to deal with, because we might be the quote unquote minorities of the bunch. So we look for other people to identify with, so that there's someone to relate to with. If we need to talk about anything, if something pops off racially or whatever, there's somebody to stand there with. Although sometimes they don't stand with us, but we just naturally look for people who look like us when we enter a new environment. But this sister here, man, this is something that, affects our community very deeply, because these kids nowadays with television and the music, and people just telling black kids, you ain't worth shit, you're not gonna be shit, you're ugly, you're this, that. A lot of these kids feed into this, and then it doesn't help that the parents don't show their children or take them around people who look like them, or educate their children about who you are. Pop in that Hidden Colors. Turn that Disney bullshit off, and all the other bullshit doesn't mean anything to our people. Pop in Hidden Colors. Teach your children about their history. When the summertime comes, don't let them sit there and play video games all day. Have them sit down and read a book about their people. Read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Learn about the Black Panther Party, so white folks can't twist their perspective on what that party really stood for. Teach them about how the media changes certain perspectives and changes certain narratives or groups that we put together, and make them look like the enemy, or make them look like a dangerous group, like the Black Lives Matter. This is stuff that we have to educate our children on, because if we don't, they end up like this little girl here. They end up going to school searching for attention, wanting to be a part of the so-called dominant society. And what happens is that little girls like this girl here, they grow up and they become a Charles Barkley or a Stephen A. Smith, or any of these other Sambos or coons out here that basically kiss white folks' ass. So, it's very important that we educate our children. It's very important. And I don't just mean, with mathematics or science or English. We have to teach our children things about their culture. Because a lot of things out here, from music to foods to just, different art forms like karate and stuff like that. A lot of black people don't know that these things came from us. So they grow up with the media's perception and everything. Oh, well, I can just do this, or I have to settle for the bare minimum, or I have to seek attention. And it's probably not just, a self-hatred with this thing, with this situation, this sister here. I question what's going on at home. What's going on with the relationship between her and her parents. Because a lot of times, the parents are fucked up out here. And the kid can't come in them and talk about things like, okay, I'm dealing with identity crisis. I need to talk about sex. I like this boy, this girl at school. How do I deal with this? I ran into a police officer today that disrespected me. Pop or mom, how do I deal with this? And a lot of times, us as parents are not in our child's life, our children's life, the way we need to be. So when they go into society, they don't know how to adapt. They don't know how to stay within their own comfort zone and be who they are. So what they do is they start to take on certain characteristics of the so-called dominant society. So, when I saw this video, man, it was like, damn, here we go again. This self-hatred, and it starts at a very young age. Like I said, sometimes you can pick it up at 3 and 4 years old. I just saw a little Kim the other day looking like a goddamn white woman. She done messed her face up. And for you guys who remember Lil' Kim, you know, she was fine back in the 90s. I remember putting that picture up, you know, with her little thing showing and everything. I remember my mom was like, you gonna take that shit off your bedroom wall. I remember that. Lil' Kim was fine. Now she done jacked her face up. She lightened her skin. She looks like a white woman. She's talking like this little girl here, taking on that tone of the so-called dominant society. So this is a serious issue in our community. And, you know, my solution to it is that we got to get to these children young. We have to educate them on who they are. And we have to be the dominant force in these children's lives, because if we sit back and we let the media or you know, some of this music out here, or the little kids at school, even the teachers, they're going to be all messed up. But you guys give me your feedback on this. I mean, it's just sad, man. And you know, we don't get a hold of our children and we don't start educating them, I don't know where we going to be, man. Because, I mean, you see the coons that's out here that's, you know, talking out of the side of their ass. And, you know, I can't imagine we don't get a hold of this and we don't really start educating our children and you know, having self-love and loving who you are, loving your complexion, loving your hair. Especially with the women out here, black women, because, you know, it's a lot of pressure on their physical appearance. If we don't start getting a hold of our children now, we're going to have hell to pay 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. And you can mark my word on that.